This it was given me to know, that many worlds have been enslaved by the beast and his army, the Slayers. And this too was given me to know, that the beast would come to our world, the world of Krull, and his black fortress would be seen in the land. That the smoke of burning villages would darken the sky, and the cries of the dying echo through deserted valleys. But one thing I cannot know, whether the prophecy be true, that a girl of ancient name shall become queen, that she shall choose a king, and that together they shall rule our world, and that their son shall rule the galaxy.
This is the emergency podcast system. This is not a test. Movies are bombing all over the country. They are posing as movies you already know. They may already be in your theaters, your neighbor's home, or even your own. Do not panic. Specialists have been dispatched. They will help you identify these pretenders and defend you against this invasion of the remake. Please stand by for further instructions.
Welcome to the Invasion of the Remake podcast, and welcome to the Mothership. Today we're on our way to the planet Krull, which is something I'm going to fix. I hate that it's a planet.
I know, right?
I hate that it's a planet. This is one of those movies I loved as a child. I still love as an adult, but it's a bit clunky. You can put fantasy into sci-fi, but you can't go the other way. I find it feels a bit clunky when you go the other way. I would say you can turn a sword into a laser sword and give people pistols, and that's Star Wars. Great, that works. But going the other way and then throwing some lasers into something that's primarily fantasy doesn't work for me so much.
And I disagree. I kind of enjoyed that aspect of it. I don't know if maybe I wouldn't necessarily make them aliens, but I loved their weapons, actually. The way they could sort of swing them around and they become like a hand-to-hand combat weapon.
It was a cool visual, especially when multiple guys are doing it at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Right. I really enjoyed that. It looks hokier than it now because it's kind of dated. I think that might be why it's
very dated.
Partially sort of swallow.
Yeah, Krull's from 1983, so it's gonna it's gonna look a little dated, but it's an expensive movie for its time. $47 million in 1983, bombed in the box office with $16.5 million in the United States. So I don't know, you tack on a little bit international in there, but not getting there. I mean, generally just to make money, you got to double your budget, and these days you almost have to triple it. Yeah. So, but I did some math. The rare time I did some math. So let's put that into today's money. $47 million. Accounting for inflation is $115.3 million by today's standards. So the box office of 16.5 translates to about $40.5 million.
Okay, so a third.
Yeah. So not so good.
But wondering, this is one I really wondered about, because you'd mentioned it, and I was like, this is a movie I've heard on and off again. I don't think I've seen it in its entirety that I've told you, but it was like looping on TBS, like almost daily for a period of time. And I'm just wondering if like its cult status and like DVD and Blu-ray releases, if like it'll make its money back eventually. I don't know.
Oh, I mean, it's in a cult status now. Like they keep re-releasing it, so obviously is selling at some point. I have a Blu-ray of it. It was first time I'd cracked the Blu-ray since I sold off my VHS years and years ago. And it had exactly the same amount of features as my VHS. 0. I'm like, God damn it. This movie is so fascinating. Yeah. I loved this as a kid. I remember back before I even saw the movie, I was like really taken with the trailer. And 1983, I would have been 10. And totally spoke to me. I mean, by that point there'd been a couple Star Wars movies. And especially in those early to mid 80s, lots of sci-fi, lots of fantasy happening because everybody wanted a piece of that Star Wars pie.
So little it was good.
So little of it was good. And I watched all of it and I loved all of it.
As did I.
And yes, so little of it is actually good, but
I watched a lot of fantasy and a lot of sci-fi as well. And like you say, not all of it was good, but I mean, it's weird. You hit it at that magical age. It's all still pretty good to you.
Yeah. Well, and
this is one that passed me by, though. That was the unfortunate.
Yeah, this is one of my kid favorites, and it never went away. I still love it.
Yeah, I see, and I'm kind of on the fence. As I was watching the movie, I'm like, this is one of the reasons I hate doing this podcast sometimes, because we would do these classics that I loved, like absolutely loved, and I'm watching it going, oh.
It's a lot clunkier than I remember.
Yeah, it plays in a lot of ways like a bad version of Lord of the Rings.
Oh, no, it's Lord of the... I would say this is Lord of the Rings meets Star Wars.
Yeah.
We went through a few here.
Oh, okay. She's got a list.
Yeah. Lady Hawk meets Spaceballs meets Jabberwocky meets Princess Bride meets Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 meets Lord of the Rings.
Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. Let's I'm going to before we get too far into that, I might qualify that a little bit. This was written by Stanford Sherman, who is no stranger to this episode because he wrote episode 77, which we covered on this show. Episode 77 was Ice Pirates.
Oh, that makes sense.
That explains an awful lot.
And lots
Some
of television.
the visuals of it really make sense.
Yeah, lots of television. Batman 66, Man from U.N.C.L.E., and the Clint Eastwood monkey movie, Any Which Way You Can. He wrote all of those.
Yeah, like the sword play in a very sci-fi environment. That's his thing.
Yeah. Peter Yates, this was his only sci-fi fantasy film that he ever did, but he's probably most best known as director of Bullet, and he directed this movie as well. So, starring Ken Marshall, and most people listening to the podcast will better know him as Eddington from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, when he had... This is when he had hair.
Glorious hair.
He was in really good shape. He's a handsome dude.
Yeah.
Gotta say. I always thought he was a little... Well, he was supposed to look villainous in Deep Space Nine, and he did.
Yeah.
Lisette Anthony, who is Lissa in this movie... Yeah. A lot of people will know her from Dracula Dead and Loving It. We don't get to see the entirety of her performance because she was dubbed over for this entire movie because they wanted somebody with an American accent to appeal to American audiences because this is primarily a British cast.
I also read that they wanted something with a stronger voice.
More mature
voice.
More mature voice is what they wanted, So it wasn't just the American accent, it was also that her voice was very soft and juvenile.
It is. Anybody who's seen Dracula Dead and Loving It, like... The role she plays.
Yeah. Mina.
Mina. No, she's not Mina.
Yeah.
She's the friend of Mina's.
Oh, yes. I can't remember.
No, I can't either. But she also was a dead ringer for the girl in the actual Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I
so
know.
That's what I liked
She's
about
great in Dead and Loving It.
She was.
I love her.
She was. Freddie Jones, who's known for a lot of stuff, was in Dune and Elephant Man. And Francesca Annis, who's also in Dune. Contemporary audiences might remember her from Guy Ritchie's Revolver, but she was also in probably one of my favorite Polanski movies, which was his version of Macbeth.
Ah, I've not seen that one.
Yeah. Oh, the Macbeth. Oh, Polanski's Macbeth is brutal. Like it's super violent. It opens with like heads on pikes, and he was going through some shit at that time.
He's always going through some shit.
Yeah, but this is post Sharon Tate, so
he was doing a lot of stuff post Sharon Tate. So
yeah, he was venting through film
and in personal life. But anyway,
yeah. Alun Armstrong was Torquil. He was also in Braveheart and Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
So
you know his face, but he's the one of the actors. I always mix him up with Pete Postlethwaite all the time.
I don't have that problem.
I don't know.
But
I don't know if it's the accent.
He is definitely one of
face.
those faces, and it took forever for them to say that character's name.
Yes.
I was like, who is this fucker?
He's amazing. I love him.
David Batley, who was the mage Ergo, was really cool. I don't really know his background, but he was actually quite funny with his Prince Valiant haircut.
Ooh. Watch this with the right people. If you've never watched Krull before, because I watched it with the perfect person. She's like, I know who that is. He's like, I think he's the teacher in Willy Wonka, the original 1971 one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's in that movie.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And he makes a couple of jokes about candy, which are more funny when you know that.
Yes, that totally makes them funnier.
And that was episode 64.
Yep.
Anybody wants to check that out, we covered that in episode 64.
Call back.
See how things tie together on this show? And speaking of, the next guy who played the Cyclops, Bernard Breslaw, was also in episode 88, Jabberwocky.
Oh, nice.
See? Everything comes around. Now, one of the more surprising people in this is a background guy. Part of this gang of thieves is Liam Neeson.
Yes.
In a very small role.
A young Liam Neeson.
But, you know, he was already starting to get better roles just within a couple of years after this movie. Like, he was getting lead parts.
Oh, for sure.
I can't remember. There was one movie around that time that I watched, and it just made me hate him for years. It was just so bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've since forgiven him.
There's one he did with Julia Roberts that was not the best movie.
Yeah.
Either of them.
Yeah, and as I was starting to get used to him again, and then Darkman came along and ruined him again for a few more years.
Your relationship with Liam Neeson is really fragile.
It's complicated and fragile, yes. John Welsh was the seer. Graham McGrath was the little boy Titch. And a few other people, but the one I really want to talk about is Robbie Coltrane.
Yes.
As Rune, another guy who went on to much bigger and better things.
Yeah, he's kind of played an iconic character as well.
It's all the minor... it's weird. Like, the guys playing the minor characters are people I recognize most.
Some part's apart, and, you know, you got to build your career somehow.
Yeah.
And sometimes the talent shines through. Even, I mean, both those guys had speaking parts, and the little moments they have are pretty good. So you can see their talent even then. And, yeah, Robbie Coltrane was like half the man that I think I've grown to know.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was younger, and he had, like, the mustache was the most hair really on him. Because if you know him as Haggard, that's weird. But if you know him as, like, Cracker, like, the mustache shouldn't be there.
Yeah, no, I've been a fan of him long before the Harry Potter movies, so that wasn't a thing for me. But
He's
even in that movie, it's like, you kind of squint a little bit. Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Because everybody's so young and smooth.
Yes. Yeah, it's weird.
It is kind of weird. That rounds out a fairly large cast. There's a lot of people in this movie.
A lot. It was a very, very big cast.
Yeah, and it's a big production. I mean, it was, I think 11 sound stages over in England in Pinewood, and they had the really big 007 stage, too.
Oh, for
that
sure.
was where they built the swamp.
And the part inside the fortress had to be really huge. It was amazing.
Massive sets. And then a lot of the exteriors were in Italy or the Canary Islands.
Yeah, a lot of mountainous areas.
Yeah.
Quite beautiful.
Yeah, it looked phenomenal. Like the movie, even accounting for the dated special effects, it still looks really good.
Yeah. Oh, I love the crystal spider.
Yes,
that was cool. But that's probably the biggest Lord of the Rings nod. Is gotta have the spider,
the giant spider. Mm-hmm. I'm terrified of spiders, but I still really enjoyed that part.
when he's going on that first part of the quest to get the glaive. He puts his hand in lava. This is actually the second time, because during the marriage sequence in the beginning, he's put the fire in the water, and then she pulls out, and there's flame in her hand.
Yeah.
And they don't get to finish the ceremony because the invaders come in. And I'm like, this species is really resistant to flame and heat.
Well, they can make it happen. She has conjured this from nowhere.
Yeah. Oh, well, I don't want to get on just yet of the blowtorch of love, but
yeah.
One of those things that needs to be changed.
Yeah. But let's run the trailer. Let's get everybody caught up. It's a good time to listen to the trailer, folks, or hit pause and go watch the movie, and then come back and rejoin us as we talk more about Krull 1983, and we're going to remake this sucker along the way.
Oh, for sure.
On a distant planet, a great kingdom was ravaged by beings who came from the future to conquer the universe. Now, the only survivors follow a doubtful seer and a throneless king.
They will hold her in the Black Fortress. You must have help. Thieves, bandits, fighters, and brawlers.
desperately.
Those are the kind of men I need.
Well, you heard him. We are now an army.
At the end of an impossible journey, they must fight an invincible enemy.
Here's the knowledge you seek.
I shall be your king.
In the fortress, you will face more than the Slayers.
What is about to happen to them could never have happened on Earth. Columbia Pictures presents a world apart from anything you have seen before. Krull.
All right.
Epic trailer.
Doesn't it sound epic?
And
Yeah.
it was. I mean, the music. I mean,
It's grandiose.
It's very grandiose.
I think that was James
Horner.
Horner, yeah.
Yeah, they got some real good music.
Oh, yeah.
in there.
Money was spent.
Money, as Jay was saying, yeah, money was definitely spent on this movie. I mean, especially with the sets. I love the evil Grandmaster's castle.
Oh, the Black Fortress.
The Black Fortress, yeah. I love when she's walking through it. It all looks like it's body parts. Like she's walking around inside a body.
Yeah, it's not quite Giger, but I think they were kind of going for something like that. And then
Yeah.
the initial, when you start seeing the creature, it's almost like there's this weird atmosphere that just things are disconnected. Like there's teeth
It's
over on the
dreamlike.
right
Yeah.
side of your screen. I'm like, oh man, this is quite the nightmare castle.
It is. I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be updated. I mean,
Oh, sure. It's looking old now, but I mean,
But
I love
conceptually,
the
it's amazing,
idea of
yeah.
it. The design on the Beast, and who rules this army and is this big foretold creature that is taking over Krull. It's an okay design, but I think there's a whole redesign that needs to happen there. But I kind of like the idea of once you walk in there, it's like this nightmarish Silent Hill thing happening in
the
there.
whole idea of being inside of the beast,
Yeah.
almost, right?
Yeah,
Like,
see,
I loved his soldiers too.
his
Oh, yeah,
soldiers
they
are really
look great.
good.
Like it's almost like they're these bodies inhabited by these worm creatures. So when their bodies are no longer viable hosts, they just escape through the helmet into the ground, which I thought was
Yeah.
great. And in some cases with the changelings would pull down the entire body in
Yeah.
this. When it loses, you could still see
The
it
wrapping
looks-
is there.
Yeah, the wrapping of it. So like when the seer is dragged into the ground,
And it's
but
like
there's
just a-
it feels like there's no bone
There's no
structure left,
substance
but
to
it
it.
still looks like him. I'm like, that is the stuff of nightmares. That is
Yeah.
amazing.
Just like this rubber skin suit that it's just getting off.
Yeah, it's so cool.
It is. I mean, and that's. I mean, the moments of greatness in this movie, right? Because as you've said before or earlier, is it is clunky. It's not. It lacks a cohesiveness for some reason. Like it feels like there's parts missing, and there probably are parts missing.
Because I watching it as somebody who's, like I said, I've seen parts of it, but not the whole of it all in one thing. And like, this is kind of my first time seeing it all at once because I remember the Cyclops specifically. I'd seen it at one point, but
It
bits
still
like
looked
this,
pretty good.
Yeah.
It still looked
Oh
pretty
yeah.
good, yeah.
You know, I don't know how that poor guy saw where he was going.
Yeah, I don't think he did.
You notice that he does very little walking.
Yeah.
He's a lot of standing still and throwing stuff, but
Yeah.
not.
Well, when he climbs past all those guys with practice on the tower near the end.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh fuck, he must have done that a bazillion times
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
be able to do that confidently.
Yeah, or maybe they weren't recording sound at that time. They're like,
But
dude, okay, right rock.
That
Right
is is part of the problem with that though, is for a guy with one eye, he's not actually making eye contact, and it's something that's very noticeable. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, some opening it.
Yeah.
But I think there was some of the mythos that I didn't quite grasp. Like when you talk about the worm things, I'm like, when I first saw that happen, I'm like, wait, there are worm things? I got very confused. I don't know what their connection was to the beast. Like it was I was a little confused.
You know, and
by
that's
it.
the thing that they don't explain the soldiers. Like that's why I say this is Star Wars meets Lord of the Rings, because they're on this quest. Although when he grabs the glaive out of the lava, just sticks his hand in the lava and grabs it out. One, I would have liked to seen a little more agony on his face, but two, somewhere a hobbit was screaming, going, "I just got rid of the fucking thing."
That's what I thought.
Let's talk about that a little bit more, because one of the things that I did really disappointed me about this movie in this rewatch is that first quest to get the glaive. I want it to be more Indiana Jones-esque. I want,
Instead of all that climbing.
instead of all the climbing,
It does feel like Lord of the Rings at times. We're like, we're walking.
Yeah, I wanted it. You're right. I wanted it to be traps, and I wanted it to be
trials,
trials.
Yeah. and not just
He was free climbing a mountain.
Yeah, but like that could be one trial. Like there's got to be a few others like to prove his worth, right?
I don't like these kind of mystical things. Only the worthy one can go into the lava. Well, I'm like, what, was everybody burned? Like, what happens? I would have liked to seen a whole bunch of skeletons of the people who attempted it. Why is he so immune to fire?
See, I would have changed it from lava, though. Like, I would have changed it from something like, I don't know, make it like an Excalibur type of deal.
Yeah.
Where it's like...
And I think that was part of it. Like, instead of a stone, let's do melted stone.
Yeah.
I think... You're probably not far off of what they were thinking on that, but maybe there should have been more trials. Like maybe it should have been a little bit more like going after the Grail.
Yeah, like I would have liked to seen more of that because I wanted to see it as a test of his worthiness. Because just climbing up a mountain and walking into a cave is not.
Yeah, and you could have done that, cut down a lot of that climbing.
And you could still have like skeletons of people who failed the trials as well, like to really show that you have to really be the person to get it.
Yeah, because I mean,
they do it later with the spider thing.
Yeah.
So when Ynir's going to see the Widow of the Web, so we do see a spider at one point in one of the web casings.
Yep.
So or a skeleton. A skeleton.
Yeah, he opens it up and it's just a head.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, and that was my. I mean, we're not even that far into the movie. That was one of my first things I would change. Was I'd make that more epic.
Yeah. The siege on the White Castle was fine. It's
updating, but it doesn't need much changing.
No, it doesn't need a lot of changing. I mean, this was partially a marriage out of to form an alliance.
Yeah, creating a
united kingdom to fight against the invaders and the Beast's armies.
Mm-hmm. The Slayers.
But it just so happens that they actually liked each other too.
Yeah.
which is nice. I like that.
It's a change from most movies. I'm down with it. And she's telling her father, I have consented to this marriage.
Yeah. And when Cohen finally shows up and she's kind of playing a little coy behind that pillar, she says, was your journey hard? I was like, it's not the only thing.
I know, right?
I'm grown up now, and I'm like, I'm far more juvenile than I ever was when I first saw this movie.
Well, no, just because you know a lot more dirty jokes.
Yes, I didn't know those jokes at 10 years old.
You get a lot more innuendo as an adult. And
there was a bit of a smile on Cohen's face.
Yeah, it's kind of suggesting that maybe he was thinking about it just for the adults.
Yeah. That's not my sword.
This actually might be a good time to talk about those weapons. We were talking about them earlier. That your
the pole arms,
of the
laser
pole arms. Yeah, I think you're right in the sense that it's got to be one or the other, or some sort of marriage of the two for everybody.
Well, I didn't like the Star Wars ending either, where you see the fortress flying in space and then finally landing in a spot, and then every time it moved after that, it just disappeared.
Yeah,
and it's the one thing I thought about. I'm like, well, first of all, I would ditch the whole planet Krull. Let's make it a realm.
Yeah.
Like fantasy things are. Like, they can be fantastic, but we don't have to come from space.
Yeah.
I would like to see it coming up from the ground, since we've already got the theme of the soldiers when they die going into the ground. Let's make them come up from that, and that's how the tower travels.
And instead of their weapons being science, they could be magic.
Yes.
Yeah,
right?
and see, I thought of this too, where it's not so much a sign like an alien, but because it's such a completely different creature, and like, you know how you're talking, it's very dreamlike. And
well, the
very
lasers
weird.
is about the only sci-fi thing in this.
Yeah, but I mean, it's weird and dreamlike in that castle. Like, I just kept thinking, this is a dimensional being. It's not an alien per se.
Yeah, the fortress is just a physical manifestation to enter his domain and his realm. Yeah, I totally dig that. And I think that was kind of it. And I would have liked to have seen that have a physical effect on the people of Krull when they go in, like the thieves and stuff, his gang of merry men.
I'd like to see
some disorientation, because it certainly feels that way with Lissa when she first wakes up in there.
Yeah, and she's a quote unquote guest.
Yeah.
Whereas these guys are intruders and invaders.
I always hated the motivation of, well, I want you to be my bride, but why? Why her? Why?
See, and that's the thing. This is what I kind of want to make a major change, because she talks about, like, it's hinted at in the film, where at the beginning, like, she's giving him her fire, and then when everything happens, no, I'll stay and fight with you. I want it more overt that she does possess power. And that would be why the Beast wants her, because if he can marry her and help and gather some of that power, that would make him more powerful. That's why he wants her.
It allows him to become permanently part of the realm.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think you make the Black Fortress something that the reason it phases in and out and moves is because it's unstable. It can't stay on the plane.
Yeah, for more than 24 hours. Yeah.
Like he would be like a kind of a symbiont to her being, where she also possesses like that firepower and that magic.
I mean, it's tough to explain all that stuff in the narrative.
Not really, because he can explain to her why he wants her, right? Right?
Because there's a lot of exposition already. But
yeah. I mean, you could have the whole thing where he's
I do like that ceremony, but it doesn't make a lot of sense.
But yeah, like, I mean, like, she has fire. This is the other bit too. I give fire to my husband. I'm like, really? And then what are you left with? But that's why I kind of think like it should be part where it's intimated with a power where he wants her. He's like, look, you are very powerful. I can make you more powerful than you ever dreamed.
Okay,
is what the Beast says.
I think I see what you're thinking here. What if she's born to this power over flame, and she has the ability to pass it on to another?
Somewhat, but I think that's one.
And control flame.
Magical.
But we can see her training with this. This is her weapon. This is also her, all sorts of things. It can be used for all sorts of things other than as a weapon.
More of a warrior princess.
Oh, for sure.
Got that confidence already.
For sure. So she's more of a chosen one or whatever, a mythical, a being of myth that has come to this time. I mean, this is something that fantasy embraces all the time.
Yeah, let's stay away from Chosen One because
Chosen One sucks.
But she's like the one creature with that, which if he can like symbiose himself with her, that makes him stable and he can stay. Like she's the only powerful. She's the only being there that can do that for him, which is why.
Well, she'd be an immense energy source if she could do that.
Yeah, and that would and again it allows him to take up permanent residence and then complete his conquest of Krull. Right? Because even his soldiers shouldn't be able to stay on the plane. Right? You can even have that as a device that saves our merry band of troopers.
Well, you could maybe explain that weird armor as some sort of life-sustaining thing. I kind of like the idea that these were host creatures. I would love to see that happening where people are getting dragged away and then put into these weird armors. I would change the armors so they don't look so stormtroopery, but it's what sustains them and holds them in, so that's why they only really have this kind of teethy hole up near their heads, this maw. So when the host body takes too much damage, the symbiote can escape, and I still love the shrieking and everything else.
Oh, and you can maintain that whole thing where you're talking about like how it can save them. This is another thing why the Beast needs her. His range is limited with what he can take over, but he wants the whole planet.
What if those symbiotes were actually just pieces of the Beast's body?
That's what I thought. Like it's
or at least
part of his essence.
Leeches off this giant thing.
Yeah.
They're Remora.
Yeah. Oh, they can make him so freaking creepy then.
Oh, yeah. So when you see it, you can actually see some of these creatures, and the designs on those are pretty good. So these things are kind of floating around him when you first
attached to his shoulders and
glimpses. Yeah.
Just suckling on his power till they can go to their hosts.
Yeah. Oh. It's creepy.
Yeah,
I know, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I have this feeling this is going to go into a very dark place. This a remake.
Yeah,
I mean, because it's not a very dark movie. It's not a dark
I don't
movie.
know.
It's got a dark context, but it's. But, I mean, it's all shot very bright.
Yeah, but it's very British in that regard. Like, I think back to Doctor Who in that regard. It's still a fairly bright show, but they had some scary ideas. Like, I found the Beast scary at that age.
Yeah. Oh, no, he's extremely well done.
And those screeching creatures, coming out of the head, I'm like, that was creepy stuff.
Well, seeing
especially at 10 years old. I mean, and that should be... I would still keep this a PG movie, but you can have that dark PG movie. Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah. And I love the bits where we don't see the creature. We see hints of the creature throughout the movie, which I love that part.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was that mystery.
I thought they were doing the distortion mainly to hide how shitty it looked, but...
Yeah, but it's the Jaws thing. It's incredibly effective, even if they didn't mean to do it on purpose.
Yeah, but it does come more into focus as you get later into the film. Yeah. And it looks okay.
Yeah, well, for the time, it looked really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't stand up like most affection.
Yeah. It looks too human. He talks too human, and that's something I would maybe change. That's just, I think, a vocal presentation more than anything else. And I don't think you have to stick with that creature design specifically. No. I would maybe with the head a little bit, but I see it more as a hard to pin down form, Cthulhu-esque.
Yeah, like it's a sort of, I see it as sort of being an extension of the creatures that come off him in a way where that's part that we could put in here. He doesn't truly have form here, and he can't.
Oh, I would say probably the entire Black Fortress is an aspect of him.
Yes, I guess now that comes right back down to thinking that you're inside of him, at least in terms of Lissa's experience with him. Yeah. She seemed to be inside of him.
Yeah.
Like, would that make an interesting finale? Get everybody out and have this big monolithic monster?
Yeah, but to kill him, like be inside him, kill the heart of what makes him.
That little glaive is going to have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, no, and you know what? I think you just hit on something. Is his heart is where all these Remora things come off of, right? And they find his heart, right? Like that's where the penultimate conflict comes is that's where he is, because it makes sense. There's like a nice connection there between his heart and his relationship with Lissa, or his desire to have a relationship with Lissa. You get some really nice context or subcontext there.
Well, and that it does explain when the creature appears dead and the attacks on some of the other soldiers in other places dies down for a moment, and it's his body. He's multitasking, attacking from all different places because this is his body.
Yeah.
Oh, I do like that.
Yeah, I think it's and
it's all kind of there. They've already given it to us. They just never explained it.
Yeah, and I mean, I love the idea of them destroying his heart, and then it just basically frees him to just be completely evil. Right? Like he doesn't need his heart.
Yeah, this is where Lissa can come back in. Like I wouldn't have Cohen losing the glaive and getting stuck in the creature.
Actually.
That was disappointing because. You waited all film to see him use it because fucking Ynir's like, oh, don't use it now. Well, how do you know he's going to be good at using it?
Yeah.
Let him practice. Yeah. Even the Beastmaster practiced when he had his little.
But it's also that trope
thing.
Too, where it's like you can't use it until you know you need to. And we've waited all this time till when he knew he needed to.
I fucking hated that.
Yeah.
You know what?
We need to establish what it can do prior to him doing it. Yeah,
him exploring its powers and capabilities. I think that's important to the role, especially considering you have this cool weapon that really ended up being like an afterthought almost.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, because I mean, the blowtorch of love drives me nuts, but you can have aspects of it. But I would make that Lissa fighting from another front.
Yeah,
you know what? I think that you have a lot of fun is they explore all the powers of the glaive, but there's one they don't know about, and it's a combination of her powers and the glaive.
Yeah.
Right? The power that he's entitled to, his inherited powers, right? Which is the glaive.
Yeah. And that was the point between her and Colwen, is their combined powers kill him.
I like this. He's not the chosen one. He's her chosen one.
Yes.
And that's why he can use the glaive.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then you've got, because he literally is her chosen one.
Yeah.
And you can expand on, when he goes to the Widow and the Web.
And that keeps that mythical thing, and it's a little more fun than just, it's the chosen one.
You can have either the Seer or the Widow and the Web kind of hint at the whole thing. Oh, no, there's a reason that you have that glaive. But they don't say that's why the reason he has the glaive.
Yeah, no, I think it could get, I think it gets a lot more interesting that way. And I love the fact that we're making a really empowered female character. Like she really is the focus of this whole movie.
Well, I mean, it's these days.
She is anyhow, but
these days, female action heroes are becoming stronger again, and thanks to Wonder Woman, we're probably going to get a lot more of it again. So it does go in cycles, but having equal measure in the heroes and the band of characters in general. Is far more interesting.
And also the part of it too is I love the idea of they've decided to marry each other, but this is like a partnership. This is a marriage, and this is why it's so powerful.
Yeah, and we can have moments while she's captured of fighting back for a little bit.
Yeah, I think that while she, instead of wandering around that castle in fear all the time, you can see her reacting and destroying some of his lackeys that are kind of hurting her.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but that's intentional. They're herding her to a place where he needs her, so he can siphon off. And her just firing off all that energy is just giving him more power.
So there's again.
So he's deliberately antagonizing her.
Yeah, and you'd have she would have a storyline because it's sort of in this movie. It didn't really.
She was just
wandering around,
right? Yeah, she really was a means to an end.
She was.
This movie, yeah.
So.
No,
she was Mario's princess.
Yeah.
The princess trapped in the castle with Bowser.
Yeah. Oh no! I see. You're giving me some ideas there with like when she's using her powers inside him. Basically, is when she does. You can see him, the pulse of him absorbing that energy, and it takes her a little while to recognize that that's what's happening. Mm-hmm. And so at first she's fighting back, and then
she powers down and becomes passive,
and allows him to hurt her.
Mm-hmm.
But also she'll try and do that, that moment of emotional manipulation where he's trying to emotionally manipulate her, and she's like, "No, you'll be betrayed. Like, just have her just figure like, well, I'll fight back this way." Because it might work.
And that drives that scene a little bit better, too. There's a scene in the movie where the band is taking a bit of rest as they're exiting the swamp. Mm-hmm. And it was Liam Neeson's character, Keegan's wife, and a couple other girls she knew and that were basically serving the men and helping cook and that sort of thing. Although it was they
had no supplies
the
at
mage
all,
Ergo was doing most of the cooking.
Yes,
but they were just basically serving. And
they brought all the food and supplies. 'Cause they had nothing.
Yeah, and one of the women
Merith
makes a pass at Cohen.
Oh no,
it's not Merith.
It's Merith's friend. I don't remember her name.
I do believe it's Vela. Mm-hmm. And of course, they're watching this. From the Black Tower.
They're Skyping in.
Yeah, they're Skyping in, and he's going to betray you, and he doesn't. And she's initially going to attack him, but she's taken with this moment of love. Even the parasite's like, "Oh my God,
I like
I'm touched."
This guy.
Which I would think I would love. I still like the idea of it, the Beast being the one that kind of crunches her from a distance and just says, getting mad because he's been the one who's been betrayed. She's not doing what she's supposed to. But I also like the idea of that love physically hurting this parasite.
Yes.
That could be a hint if you still want to keep that whole power of love thing.
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Because I would make it make a little more sense than it did in the movie. But
Well, and I think
a little less black and white. I think.
Yeah, I think that it's ultimately is the end game of the story is
their unification.
Love, right?
Their unification. And the unification of their powers.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. Like that's what we're driving the story. Like the whole love thing is like their love, their relationship. That strength there is what's helping everything. That's helping their victory, and that's
Okay, well, we got that part figured out.
We did.
Okay, we got a beginning and an end.
Yeah. Now the middle. Let's talk about the middle.
Yeah, because
there's a lot of middle.
There's a lot of middle.
Oh, and I wanted to bring up one thing. I'm like, oh man, if Jeff was here, we could go in the whole quicksand scene because we have a whole thing about quicksand.
Oh yeah, but I'm the one who gets pissed off about quicksand. But it looked really good. Actually, no, it didn't. It just looked like sawdust on water. But it still looked good on screen.
There's one thing that bothered me about it. I'm like, you have two guys with whips, and you won't use that to get somebody out of the quicksand.
If only we had some long rope-ish items of some sort that we could hold on to.
I would cut that whole bit right out of the freaking movie.
Yeah, let's.
Oh no!
I don't like quicksand in general in movies. So.
I had to ask that question.
It was only
Why did they do
so
that?
they could lose one guy.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of screen time for losing a guy whose name we only learn when he's sinking. So
and
we had no attachment to the character.
More fodder in the fortress.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we don't need to lose everybody on the way.
No.
I mean, I think it's the whole.
Oh, we didn't. We don't lose a lot of people on the.
Yeah.
No, I mean we lose to 2 or 3, but I mean the whole intent is that was to make the journey seem perilous.
Yeah.
It didn't work. That journey at no point really felt perilous.
No, it's let's hit the order of events. So once Ynir goes to the White Castle after it's White Castle, he needed some burgers.
They're good. Have you had them?
I don't know. We don't have White Castle in Canada.
No.
Go to Vegas. They're good.
Now, do we need Harold and Kumar too?
This movie was made before they were born, probably.
Yeah. Those are young guys.
But because he couldn't find Harold or Kumar, he finds Cohen instead. No burgers, really pissed off.
I know.
The old guy really just wanted some burgers.
And now I'm going to make you go on this pointless
He
quest.
spent years waiting, and he came down to White
he's
Castle.
Obi-Wan
and there's no
Kenobi.
burgers.
Yeah, he really.
He watched Cohen's family get destroyed and then picks up the guy. It is fucking Star Wars.
Yeah.
He watched two families get destroyed.
And this is why I kept thinking is like
And
the guards
why?
reminded me of Spaceballs.
He was just hanging out waiting for the kingdom to get fucked.
Pretty much. He's that dude that's like that hermit who won't show up until crap gets real bad.
And he is a hermit. They reference to him as the old one. It never comes down from the mountains.
He's old Ben. He's
Yep.
absolutely old Ben.
Yeah.
And he's watching somebody, and I'm guessing it's Alyssa because his ex is also named Alyssa, who's also the widow of the web.
Yeah, and why they're both still alive is all those sands in that hourglass.
Yes.
Which is why he's
So
the
they're a
old
lot
one.
older than they look.
Yes.
Well, he is. She looked pretty old.
Yeah, I think part of her punishment was aging like that.
Yeah. Sad. That's a sad story I would tell a little bit more of. Spend a little more time in there. And have more spiders.
Yes.
I mean, if you're gonna have a crystal spider, I mean, a spider that looks that cool, let's have a bunch of them.
Yeah, like I think that big crystal spider should be like the mommy spider, and there's tons of little evil baby spiders.
And they don't only exist inside that cave. So.
Yeah, I'd make the sand kind of more because the other thing too, he drops some of the sand from the hourglass, and then the spider just stops. And I didn't know
It's controlling time
Yeah, I guess, but it didn't
within
really...
that space.
Yeah.
You see, and
Didn't really tell me that.
No, they don't.
We could make this scene even more epic by adding more of those crystal spiders and have the beasts symbiotes invade and try to get in there to stop him from getting the knowledge that he's looking for, and then the crystal spiders. So you have a great battle between the crystal spiders and these.
Oh, that'd be
symbiotes.
cool.
Nice.
Right? Again, epic, lots of
Yeah.
action. I think.
What if those symbiotes attach to some of the spiders, so it's spiders versus spiders, and they kind of go all blood veiny red.
See, again, wicked cool.
Yeah. And then they can attack the big crystal spider at some point, too.
Yeah, but the Widow of the Web still has some measure of control over the time and what the spiders can do in there. But instead of the crystal spider going back to the heart of the cave, once she's destroyed the hourglass to kind of devour her.
Oh, yeah.
We should have it being one of the other ones.
Yeah.
Because those creatures still can't leave the cave.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. That's what was happening at the end when it's destroying the heart. I thought that's where she was. Or am I weird and wrong?
Yeah, no, she was in the center of that massive web.
Oh, okay, because
Yeah.
I knew the crystal spider went back, and I thought it was to kill her, but I didn't.
I think, I'm pretty sure since the only thing keeping her at bay is the thing she just destroyed. So
Okay, I thought that's what. Okay, good.
which is cool. But now that we've redesigned that sequence, we could have it being one of the more the host spiders for the screamers.
Yeah,
for sure.
What were the hell were those things called? The Slayers.
Slayers.
Yeah,
changing that name.
Yeah, I'm changing that too.
Yeah.
I like
At
the
one
Screamers is great.
Yeah.
because that's the whole thing. At one point, I'm sitting there going, "Wow, if Sarah Michelle Gellar was like, if this was the '90s, I would make it Sarah Michelle Gellar, so it would be a Slayer against the Slayers." I giggled at that for about 2 minutes and then went back watching the movie.
Okay. You're adorable.
I'm an idiot, but it's fine.
But that sequence happens after they meet the seer. So it's Ynir. They go to get the glaive. Then they go see the seer because he says, well, the fortress is flipping around, and Cohen has a little fit. He's like, well, I thought you knew where it's going to be.
Yeah.
Let's not be rude. So they go to the seer. The seer tries to figure it out, but it's kind of like looking in on in the Hobbit.
Yeah.
Like it can see back, and
it's Sauron's the eye and Saruman's the other bad guy.
Yes.
There we go.
So yeah, it's
I
like
always get those confused.
Sauron can look back. So
Yeah.
it's very similar with this creature, and it kind of attacks through the pool or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't do it from there. So they're going to, what do they call it? Let's call it the Emerald Forest. That's
Or
not right.
as I call it, the
Emerald
sound-
Temple. The Emerald Temple.
Look at we're at Soundstage Forest.
Soundstage Forest, Stage 5 at Pinewood.
Yeah.
We need to go to Pinewood 5.
Yes.
Can you punch my voucher for my parking?
Let's go to the obligatory swamp.
Yeah,
Can you validate
that
my
was
fire
the
beer?
007 stage.
Yeah.
That was the 007 stage. So I don't know. They kept saying we need to go to the Emerald Temple, and I'm like, what? Did we ever get to a temple? I never saw a temple.
I don't think we got there because the seer dies and we never get there.
Yeah, and they're like, well, shit. He was supposed to look into the future, which would have been interesting if it was what was Titch just to help him, the blind seer,
Titch was
around.
his apprentice.
His apprentice.
Exactly. Yeah. So
I would have liked to have gone to the temple just to see if Titch could try.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that bugged me actually.
That bugged me too.
Yeah.
That he was the apprentice seer, so he should have, when the seer died, he should have taken on that role.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Even as an inexperienced seer, he still should have had some abilities.
Yeah.
And he sort of does. They hint at it
They
when he
hint at it,
talks about to the Cyclops. He knows
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
but
Right.
he's very.
It would have been
It was
funny.
a wasted opportunity is what it
Yeah.
was.
Oh, we forgot. Ergo shows up in the band along the way. A lot of these guys, pretty early on, these guys joined the band right away. Ergo was flying around as an asteroid. I don't know.
That confusing. Like this, meteor
He was a-
plows into
Well, he's
this.
a
1,000 miles off
magician.
course.
He doesn't- he can't remember his spells, right? So he's obviously playing. He was probably experimenting with one of his spells because he does that all the way through the movie. He's
Yeah.
sort of trying to remember his spells.
If he could travel like that, then why didn't he do it later on?
Yeah. Well, he did say when he does show up, he's like at least 500 miles off course. 1,000 miles off course. So he is bad at getting to the right place. So I can see why he doesn't want to do it all the time.
Yeah.
He's good at magic, but he's bad at controlling it.
And he's not super brave, so.
And he's kind of not very smart either.
No. But he is the heart of that group in a lot of ways because he befriends Titch after the seer dies and does some pretty sweet things, turns himself into a puppy just to make the kid feel a little bit better. And there's some nice moments with him.
Yeah. And then turns himself into a tiger to protect Titch.
And finds his bravery. He's got a pretty good arc.
Yeah, he's got a very good arc. Yeah, and I mean, that's the one thing he's good at is changing himself into other animals.
Talking about the Emerald Castle, he's the Scarecrow.
Oh, add Wizard of Oz to your list.
Wizard of Oz.
Okay, what's on the list now?
Okay. It's Lady Hawk meets Spaceballs. Oh, wait. I forgot Star Wars. Meets Star Wars.
Okay.
Meets Jabberwocky. Meets Princess Bride. Meets Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Meets Lord of the Rings. Meets Wizard of Oz. Meets Star Wars.
Okay.
And so far, I can see all of those in here.
So, as the list progresses, we may be adding to it again.
For sure. I think, but you know what? I think because this is such a cult classic, this is why we're getting so many hits. Is because I think a lot of these directors have seen it and loved it, this movie.
Well, I mean, it has. You can see some people really like this movie. It did resonate into pop culture a little later on. Some things in video games and references. I think Warcraft references. A lot of games reference the glaive if they're fantasy games at some point or another. So I remember Rygar. You remember that game where the guy had basically a glaive on a rope?
Yeah.
Ooh.
It was like a yo-yo.
Yeah.
Nice.
Castlevania had a similar weapon too.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Some of the earlier ones had that very similar style of weapon.
Yeah. So, the movie, despite not doing well, resonated.
Yeah. Well, like you said, there's these hints of great, wonderful things, and that's why people love it.
Yeah. So, they got Ergo. Then I think they're ambushed in the canyon.
Where they pick up all of the escaped prisoners.
Yeah, with the prisoners. And, they're all escaped prisoners. And through
Because they're all shackled.
Yeah, through gift of gab with Cohen, he's like, well, I'll free it. Well, only the king and his marshal have the key.
Yeah.
And he frees one guy who says, I'll join you, the youngest one.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't say that. Yeah, he doesn't realize that he's the king until that one kid says, "You know what? I'll go with you," even without knowing that he could actually be freed.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's when he brings out the key.
Never occurs to them that forgery might be a thing.
Oh, no. You can't make more than one key in this kingdom at all.
Not
Never.
in this kingdom. only the people in the Black Tower have that kind of technology.
There's only 2 keys in this whole
We
kingdom.
can make swords, but we can't make keys.
I know, right?
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of hackneyed, and then maybe it needs to change a little bit. I mean, I think
You would think the people of the kingdom knew who the king's son was.
Yeah.
you'd think, right? And I mean, the
Or
great
one of the
medallion.
king's sons.
Yeah. Yeah, the medallion I thought was what
I
would
guess,
tell them, right?
depending on what kingdom they were in, they might not have known because
No.
there were
Oh,
two
true.
kings, right?
Yeah.
And they died at Lyssa's castle, not his. So we don't even know where his
Which realm
kingdom
they're
is.
actually in,
Yeah. Also, those are just
So they might
two
not know.
kingdoms of many other kingdoms.
So
We don't know where they are.
the
in this
key
universe
might
yet.
not have even worked.
Yeah.
No, I think that changing that to the glaive medallion that he pulls out when he's trying to get to the key.
And if it did
Yeah,
fit
for sure.
their bonds, it means they were captive of his kingdom. Awkward.
I know, right?
I remember you. You were in the dungeon.
Yeah. Doesn't even ask what they did.
No,
Oh, you slaughtered a bunch of kids? Here you go.
I need men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
And I
just
mean-
check that out, dude.
That's what it comes right down to, is he needed men.
He needed men to take the hit and be cannon fodder.
He
Yeah, really, and that's what he
needed
did.
Yeah, and he
that's
did it with a
exactly what
smile and smarm and charm.
they were.
Yeah.
So yes, their leader Torquil, who didn't want to get freed until he had earned it.
Yeah.
Although I did like the ending where he actually lives, one of
Yeah.
two guys in his band that actually survives that fucking thing, and Cohen hands him the key, and he's like, "Well, only the king and his grand marshal have
Yeah.
this key." He's like, "Yep." So I'm like, "Oh, he just got a promotion."
Yeah. From prisoner to running the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, what did you do?
Yeah. Important questions, guys.
Well, no,
Yes,
I
but-
don't think it was. I don't think it was important because he'd redeemed himself.
Oh, along the way for sure, everybody's
Yeah.
redeemed,
But
but
he even says he doesn't want them taken off because he always wants to be reminded.
yeah,
Right.
These were for the most part good men.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm guessing it's probably like stealing food or helping. It really was Robin Hood, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, add that to the list.
Robin Hood. Which one?
I don't care.
Okay.
Robin Hood in general is the same theme, regardless of what version you're doing.
Really, it is. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Are we talking the Russell Crowe one?
No,
No.
never.
I heard that could have been a great movie, but they
It was
messed with the
okay.
script.
It was okay.
No, but the original script I heard was great.
Okay, so we got those guys. Then it's off to the seer. We go through that shit, and then we're in the swamp on the way to the Emerald Temple, but we never get to the Emerald Temple.
Yeah.
Along the way, we pick up the Cyclops.
We pick up the Cyclops has been kind of trailing him
Yeah.
for a little bit.
Yeah.
but we don't actually meet. They don't actually meet him until the
Yeah,
swamp.
Ooh,
Rel the Cyclops.
They meet him. Where is it? He sees them when they first with the bandits. in that one
Yes.
place.
Yeah, when
And
Ergo stops to pick up the
Ergo
berries.
stops and falls behind with the gooseberries,
Mm.
and yeah, he sees the Cyclops, sees the Slayer, and Cyclops throws his big lawn dart at the Slayer, and poof.
Yeah. I love that sound.
That's why I think we're changing their name to Screamers.
Screamers. Okay, Screamers.
Screamers. Okay, screamers. What's
We're not
what's-
putting that one on the
What's
list.
Tremors? What are those things in Tremors?
There was a movie called Screamers.
There was a
Yeah.
I think
it's
they did.
different.
I
It's
think
not-
they were underground.
I think
Were
they were
they?
as well. Yeah,
I think
it's been
they
a while
were.
since I saw it.
Oh.
Okay, now you can add it to the
Okay,
list.
screamers.
Even though it probably happened after this movie.
Yes, and we kind of made the connection on our own without.
Meaning to. Yeah.
But we're adding it.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, Seer dies, is replaced by a changeling, one of the beast changelings, and we talked about that and getting dragged into the ground and
Yeah.
being all fleshy. It was really
Yeah.
cool. That was awesome. We're gonna add a scene where they actually go to the temple and try,
Yes.
and then maybe the kid fails, is just can't quite get it, and that's why we have to go see the
Widow of the
Widow
Web.
of the Web.
I would like to see.
We need some backstory with the Widow of the Web before that, though.
I think we do, yeah, because she kind of pops up out of nowhere. Like every character in this movie, these sort of the key characters, they kind of pop up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's like,
We should
there's
talk-
another one. Oh, there's another one. Oh, there's another
Well,
one.
we need to establish why Ynir's even sticking around. Maybe he's a former friend of the king. I don't know, but maybe it's just because there is a legend saying about the kingdom and somebody with an ancient
There will
name.
be a woman born and
with an
choose a
ancient
king.
name.
Yeah.
And the ancient name was the name Alyssa, who's the name of the Widow of the Web, and that's how he grants himself some time too. Is he shouts out her name as soon as he enters the cave? Otherwise, he's going to get devoured before he ever reaches her.
For sure.
Yeah, so I think you're right. There needs to be some more context as to why he now decides to come down from the mountain, and and you don't find out until like 2/3 of the way through the movie.
Yeah.
Right. Which I guess is fine. I mean, like, it leaves you
Just little hints in the dialogue where, he says, I had a relationship much like yours a long time ago. Just establish certain things with this Widow of the Web and why he's a little haunted by it. And, you know, other than leaving, what did he actually do? There should be some freaking tension there.
Yeah. Well,
why was she cursed to this cave in the first place? What did he do?
Well, what I was thinking, like, I don't know, we'll maybe feed into that when we're talking about how they go to the Emerald thing to try beforehand and they don't even really get to her until after, is he doesn't want to go see her. He's like, we better do it this first because there's my ex. I don't want to go see her.
Wait a minute. He knew where the glaive was. What if he's the one who tried to get rid of it in the first place because he betrayed his love to get that in the first place, and her curse was to be...
I see where you're going. Because I was already kind of going in that direction.
Okay.
But I'm kind of seeing is where he was in Cohen's position, where his job was to... They were supposed to be together and sort of combine those powers, but he blew it.
Yeah.
Right. So he was the last person to be the bearer of the glaive, not trying to get it, but he failed in his mission.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And now that's why she's stuck where she is.
Yeah.
And that's why he's
a different threat. Maybe she's took on the burden of controlling the threat, which is the spiders or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or took on this darkness unto herself.
Yeah, she's been there all those ages to take care of that because the thing is the beast is just the new threat. This was the old one.
Yeah,
I can see why she'd be bitter.
And then then we could get more into the whole powers of the glaive thing, where we can have more of the Obi-Wan Kenobi shit, right? Where he's teaching him how to use the glaive and what it can do and how to call it back to him and all these force things that they tried to throw in there.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't think he should be the only one to go in the cave if we're adding more spiders and stuff. So.
Yeah,
because we can get rid of a few people.
Yeah, because
exactly.
you're right. I mean, you do have to have some more of that peril for the band of merry men.
Yeah. Well, that Cohen, because I could see why she would want this fucker dead, out of hundreds, maybe thousands of years of bitterness. So Cohen needs to be in that scene. And that's when Ynir shouts, Lyssa.
Yeah.
And I am battling to save a woman with your name.
Yeah.
And that's what lets them through, not Ynir. I mean, Ynir needs to find some redemption in that, and that should be that conversation that they have at the heart, for sure.
No, I like that. You sort of expand on it. And again, I mean, you could have a lot more fun with the glaive and all that stuff in that spider scene.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Sure.
Right, where this is one of those things where he gets to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Just occurred to me with the Cyclops. Would you keep it practical like they have it, or CG enhancements in there, or make him entirely CG? I was really torn. When I did my casting, I'm like, well, I'm going to cast a guy in case we do that, or at least somebody who's large and could do the mocap for it. But
I do want a person in that role, I think.
I think maybe like the enhancements on the face should be CG, so at least the guy can see where he's going, and then you can have more physicality to that character.
Yeah, give them like that hood and then just CGI that bit.
Yeah.
I like that idea. You sort of mocap that just the face,
and for safety reasons for the actor, it'd just be better.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
and you can give and that way you can give the Cyclops more action.
Yeah, and I mean, as good as that eye looked, I mean, you can have him making eye contact instead of like staring off to the distance all the time.
Yeah, and I mean, you could use the CG to sort of make him appear larger too, right? Because I mean, he was large. He was a large man.
Oh, I got a large guy. The guy I cast is just slightly over 7 feet.
Wow,
my guy isn't that big.
Oh,
but
I kept looking at heights.
Yeah,
I did my best.
And size.
Yeah, I went with somebody who just has such a phenomenal voice that would be great for Cyclops, and he's reasonably large. So
yeah, and that's something too. You could always have a separate voice.
Yeah.
So I mean, if the majority of the face is getting CG'd, then you can have your physical actor as well as a proper.
Well, it's like Chewbacca.
Yeah, yeah. So could happen. You can totally do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
the technology's there now, so
it absolutely is. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, the Cyclops. I mean, traditionally Cyclops are massive, right? Like they're like 14, 15, 20 feet tall, right?
Yeah. Well, they talk about it when he first shows up, and he looks like he's towering over everybody. And I mean, the guy was like 6'5" anyway.
Yeah.
But wearing lifters, and I think he was probably standing on a rock because they talk about him being 20 feet, and then it's like 15, 10.
Well, you can do
8.
that Peter Jackson perspective trick.
Oh yeah, they were totally doing the perspective.
They did a good job in some parts and not so much in other. One thing I don't know if I like about this, and I don't know if I want to change it or not, is I love the story about how they get the village to see the future, but the only future they get to see is their moment of their own death.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
this
Love
was
that. It's so tragic.
It's so sad.
and this was a bargain with his species of Cyclops. They originally had 2 eyes, and to be able to see the future, they bargained away their 1 eyes to the beast. And because he's a trickster being, he's like, okay, I will grant you the future, but the only future they see is the moment of their own deaths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a great story. It's
that
tragic
was
and
fucking wasted.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
It was fucking wasted. Sorry, he just stays behind because it's his
moment.
time.
Well, and then they say if he fights the moment, then he's going to be in agony. Well,
Yeah.
he died in agony anyway, so
Exactly. Like, I don't know. I think you'd have it where it would be just that tragedy where he's just that you have that feeling and that hint, like that somberness.
I don't
in his
think I'd
being.
have him crushed in some Indiana Jones
No,
trap
that's
like he
a
was.
hard no. I hated that.
I
death.
didn't like that death either. I think because should be this big, powerful, imposing being, and he's old. If he's dying anyway, he's old. And if he sees the future of his death, it should always be whatever that moment is. It shouldn't be just like, oh, I'm going to lay down here.
Yeah.
it should be that moment. So
His death needs to be heroic.
I could see him
Yeah.
maybe wanting to avoid the moment
Yeah.
as long as he could, and maybe that's why he stays behind. But it should be heroic, and I think it should be battling like 101 of those freaking
Yeah.
Screamer Slayer things.
Like, I think he's battling a lot of them, but he does it kind of protecting them. He gets them forward to where they need to be. But I think prior to that moment, when we're talking about how he's kind of putting it off, you have sort of a scene where he says something to those guys like, I just want you to know that this is a great honor for me. Like, he knows he's going to die, but they don't yet.
Yeah, he gives them that what sounds like a goodbye to us.
Yeah.
And then Titch is the one who says it's his moment, it's his time,
Yeah,
right?
it's his
Yeah.
moment.
But I want him, epic battle scene allowing him to escape on those really cool horses.
Yeah, because we're making this a realm now, and I thought about it, and this might give you kind of like the flippy sword thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it for their main. I would make it layers of soldiers.
Yeah.
So the only two types of slayers we've had the changelings and then their regular foot soldier slayers. We can have maybe a mage type too.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Or
you have
an
different
elite troop,
orcs.
right?
Yeah.
Right. Where they're elite and they get those sort of mage warrior types. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You can have like the lower end kind of, they're just brute force, don't think very well,
Yeah.
and then the ones that are a bit smarter.
Yeah. Yeah, the ones that kind of lead in. And then they become... So you have a bit of strategy as well. We need to take out these mage types that are scattered throughout the army.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, before we go on too far with the Cyclops death, there's something I wanted to say because you're talking about how he's going to be in agony if he fights this moment of his death.
Mm-hmm.
I think he should be fighting it, and that's one of the big sacrifices. Is he's in agony through this whole sacrifice he's making for them. Like he's fighting them, and you can see that he's like fighting his moment of death for as long as he can, so that
Oh, yeah.
to give his friends time to get away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
We could see maybe that resistance of that. I mean, we could see the physical damage of him fighting, but these mystical elements of fighting his moment as well.
yeah, the stereotypical like flash of lightning or
I don't know. I don't know.
yeah,
I'd almost maybe have, since we're gone kind of dark, I'd maybe have his flesh start pulling apart the skin so you could start seeing the muscly sinew underneath and just something, and then smoking.
Things things that should be a very outright
Abnormal.
mortal wounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's still going.
But I just really would love to see that because it would just make him seem that much more heroic.
Yeah.
Oh, I just thought about it. Well, if this legend of the Cyclops giving up their eye to the beast, there should be a lot of fucking eyeballs in his in his tower.
Ooh, and he uses
His
them
fortress.
to see everywhere.
Yeah. Ooh.
This movie's going to be like 4 hours long onward, isn't it?
Oh, so Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're Peter Jacksoning it? Dang.
See, this is what happens. I suddenly understand him now.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is how it happens.
Well, that's the thing.
But we're getting rid of all the walking stuff.
Yes.
That's true. We are cutting a lot of walking out.
Yeah.
Because you only need to see them leave and then arrive.
Yes.
You don't.
Yeah.
You can do a cutaway to get to another character. That's where you can maybe show Alyssa or something, and then get back to them, and they're arriving. So
Yeah.
the passage of time happens between.
And your
between
mid-battle
scenes.
is with the spiders and stuff.
Yeah.
You might have maybe one small one with slayers before they get there, and that's
Oh, in the
it.
swamp. I mean, the battle in the
Ooh.
swamp
Yeah.
was good. I mean, because
If-
I love the way they come up out of the swamp.
But if we're going to the Emerald Temple before there or around there,
Yeah. So in the swamp, but because I said when they come walking out of the swamp,
Yeah.
it looks really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I would get rid of the quicksand stuff there, and maybe change some of the threats that they have along the way. Mm-hmm. You can meet other beings, maybe. I mean, that swamp seemed quite empty outside of trees.
Yeah.
So-
We could have like crocodile-like creatures and snakes and
Yeah, let's make it more alive.
yeah, like I mean, it shouldn't be just slayers that should be the danger. I think it should be. They have to. Like when I saw this kind of swampy place, I'm like, oh my god, they're in danger because of what's in there. No, they're not. They're in danger from the slayers apparently, and nothing else can hurt them in there.
there's nothing else in there to hurt them.
Yeah.
So that was
So
kind
yeah,
of
you need
anticlimactic.
to add some more stuff in there. Now, when they find out through the Widow of the Web where the tower is going to be, I have a problem with the fire mares too, since they heard them and then they, these things that can run at Mach 7,
Yeah.
they run so fast that they can fly.
Yeah.
And they're just easily herded in this canyon. That bugged me.
That
They
bugged
shouldn't
me
be
too.
that easy to catch.
See, I thought about this, and I'm like, if Titch is supposed to be kind of a seer creature, I want maybe him to know something or be able to do something.
I agree with that, and because that goes back to something I was thinking just before you started talking about the fire mares at the Emerald's Tower. They get to the tower, and Titch tries to get in, and it refuses them entry. It says, "You're not ready yet," right? He gets the voice in his head kind of thing. It says, "You're not ready yet. You can't come in, but you will be soon. But it'll be too late," right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is part of his growth process, is figuring out how to, or teaching them how to capture the fire mares. Mm-hmm. Right? I think that makes Titch a little more important,
Yeah.
right? Because for the most part, he's just to tag along. He's there for basically Ergo to protect.
Yeah.
So his rest of his purpose is there is no purpose for him.
Yeah.
Let's give him purpose.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it would be there's a whole growth there, and it's sort of that would actually really create an important dynamic between Ergo and Titch. Is like Ergo is Ergo the magician. He can't control his magic, and Titch is just learning how, and he's doing very well at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe there isn't such a thing as a fire mare. Maybe it's something that Ergo grants these Clydesdales.
Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe
That
he's
the
like
one moment where he gets a spell right.
he can conjure those,
maybe
but he
and
can't
Titch
control
work
them.
together.
Yeah, he
tells
and
him
Titch.
how he can do it.
Yeah.
But Titch doesn't have the power to do it yet.
Yeah.
But understands the mechanics.
And
So
we
Titch
have
has
to
the control.
Yeah.
Ergo has the power.
And Ergo has to get over his ego. Ego.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah.
To be able to do this. So we see, again, certain struggles with that character, and it just gives them a little bit more of an emotional arc.
It does, and it explains their bond a lot better too.
Yeah, and then
Oh,
you
yeah.
get here's the new surrogate. Not so much a father-son, is more of a mutual relationship, and you can imagine them going forth after this.
We're
After this
magical
whole thing.
colleagues.
Yeah.
We work together.
Sam's waving. He's got an
I have
idea.
an
that's
idea.
epic.
Sorry, it just occurred to me. The one thing that Ergo is really good at, we've already talked about, he's great at changing into animals.
Yes.
He changes into one of the fire mares to get into the herd.
Oh,
He becomes the leader.
And,
Right.
or insinuates himself in.
Yeah.
And that's how they and then he kind of leads them into a trap where they can get the ropes around them, they can't run away.
And Titch is able to kind of calm them down so they
And
can
then
get them
Titch is able
saddled.
to calm them down as the seer until they get them saddled.
Oh,
Brilliant.
That's actually better.
I love that.
That's much
I
better.
love that so much because then you still have all that teamwork.
You have all that teamwork. You're playing to
And then you're not
Ergo's-
doing something super fantastic like him creating a
Ooh,
new
and
species.
then Titch is the one who's on Ergo. But I think at the time Ergo was like really happy. I was like, "This is amazing! I'm running so fast."
Yeah.
Because that would be fun. Can you imagine if you could turn into a creature that can go that fast?
Yeah.
You would take advantage of that.
Yeah, if this is a natural species to this world,
Yeah.
then this realm. It's
realm.
a realm now.
Yeah.
It's a realm. There are no lasers in spaceships.
No.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it just seemed as like why not play to the strength of the art we've already established?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
That works. That works much better.
Okay. Are there any more stops along the way now? I think we got the fire
No,
mares.
the fire mares, they're going right directly to the place.
Okay. So do we want to add something in there in the swamp, or something, a trial maybe at the Emerald Temple?
There should be there's Titch's trial,
Yeah.
which I already I think is a really great way to sort of explain why we don't have the answer there. Is that the tower refuses him entry. He's just too young. He's not experienced enough.
Yeah.
But there should be something else there. Like the beast kept manifesting like his arm and stuff in certain places. I think that because this is a power center, he's able to manifest. Maybe not himself, but an aspect of himself.
Well,
So
one of the reasons why they're going
Yeah.
to the temple is the beast can't go inside.
No.
He can't. He has no physical or mental reach into this tower, and that was one of the reasons why they were going, because the seer would be able to find out where the fortress was going to appear without being impeded by the beast.
So the group, this is it. The fight they're having is not against the Slayers that are already been hosted. It's these things trying to host themselves and their band of people to get into the Emerald.
So they have another battle, but it's more of the worm creatures rather than having their host bodies.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool
And creepy.
and creepy.
And then you'd see more. You'd see more of these like evil. I
It's
like
a bit
the
of
worm
an
things.
alien aspect to it too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we're add it on to the list.
Alien. They bore into their faces. That's why there's a hole there.
Yeah.
Ooh. Ah.
Yeah, and then as you're talking about, you need more fodder as you go along. They lose somebody.
Yeah. So what's our list look like now?
Okay.
Back to the list now.
Lady Hawk meets Spaceballs, meets Jabberwocky, meets Princess Bride, meets Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, meets Lord of the Rings, meets Wizard of Oz, meets Star Wars, meets Robin Hood, meets Screamers, meets Alien.
Okay. Okay. That's a good list.
It is a good list.
It's a good list.
Very good list. So
Okay.
Yeah.
the question is, do we make his band bigger?
I'm starting to think we need a few more people in there.
I think it could make the battle scenes a lot more epic. And again, I keep using that word, but really, I just see this. They wanted this to be epic, and I think this is.
Well, you have your core guys, and then Keegan meets his wife, but there's no village there.
No.
So you can add a village, maybe get a few more recruits, or maybe one of these escaped criminals is from another kingdom that
Yeah.
isn't so friendly with these other two.
Yeah.
And has his own army, and this is another way to unify these realms against this big creature.
Yeah, because
do that.
Because once it's done with these realms, the beast is gonna come after them next.
What I would love to see is like an epic, like
Little-
Lord of the Rings type
a
battle.
little bit of Game of Thrones politics. Put that on the list.
Yeah, but yeah, that epic like field of battle below the Black Fortress, as the core group is getting in. Like,
I mean, that's become a staple of fantasy movies at this point. We need a big battle.
we do.
for sure.
I think this is a great way to do it.
Yeah.
You're right. Is have these other kingdoms in the realm sort of joining him as they hear about it, because he's traveling through all their
Yeah, I would imagine these two kingdoms that we're going to unify through this marriage probably have their own allies as well.
Yeah.
And so that now you're going to have this core of senators or whatever, or other kings, this core group of people that could bring in their soldiers and whatnot, because I mean, at the end of the day, Cohen's got nothing left. His kingdom's been decimated.
Yes.
So he might be part of one of the bigger kingdoms, but he's fucking nobody now because his kingdom's fucked.
But this is a great callback. When we put this in, it's a great callback to like one of the lines in the movie. Well, I guess we're an army now.
Yeah, and they don't have to be the whole army doesn't have to be following him around. They all meet him. I guess they can't meet him because they don't know where it is. Right?
I'm guessing his father's going to be pretty well respected to be able to inspire that kind of loyalty. But that's something that Cohen's going to have to find inside of himself, because initially in the film he's lost his love, he's lost his father.
He hasn't really lost his kingdom. His kingdom still exists.
Well, yeah, but his people are gone, or at least within the tower, or with the White Castle.
White Castle.
He lost all the burgers.
Yeah.
And all he had left were pickles.
Yeah. No fries even.
No fries. All the tasty, all the stuff that's good and bad for you at the same time.
He's left with the salads they're trying.
But I mean, it's not his kingdom that was destroyed.
No, it was
wait,
Lyssa's
no, it
kingdom.
was Lyssa's kingdom.
It was
Lyssa's-
Lyssa's, right? And it wasn't
so-
a kingdom. It was her
castle.
army and the people in the castle.
You're right.
Her people
He
are
still has
there.
his kingdom.
He still has his kingdom.
So, but he's got to be kingly, and I would imagine his kingdom doesn't know what's happened to their
No.
king at this point.
But he'll have the glaive medallion. Which
Yes, he has
really
that
needs to play
medallion.
a more important role. They show
Yeah,
it.
that medallion only the king has.
You're right.
Yeah.
They don't like when he brought out when Ivir brings it out. I thought, oh, okay, so this is going to play a major point. It's going to he's going to take it out and it's going to play.
Yeah.
And it
So he
doesn't
needs
really...
to go home first.
I see him going home first.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe they use the fire horses to get there to his kingdom. And then that's...
Which is it was going to be closer to where the tower is appearing now.
Yeah, so that's exactly right.
Yeah. Because I would think the tower appearing there is strategic because the beast has already taken out Lyssa's kingdom.
And he thinks Cohen is dead.
Yeah.
Sort of, until he sees it, but
Well, yeah, no, he tempts
he also
Colwyn,
knows
so-
Cohen isn't there to be at his kingdom, so his...
Which would make
It's
it...
strategic on the beast's part to go attack that kingdom.
Because
next.
I was
Yeah.
thinking about how we set up this epic battle if we don't know where the
Yeah.
Black Fortress
It's funny because once Colwyn's off on
yeah.
his little quest, the beast just isn't doing much other than toying around
Haranguing
with
them,
Lyssa.
right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
and sending the occasional screamer at them. So we needed bigger.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe he's attacking all the kingdoms that surround Colwyn's kingdom, and that's why they're going to arrive at his kingdom because this is the last one he needs to take control of the realm,
Yeah.
and that's why it's so important because this is when he's going to marry Lyssa as well.
Yeah. And hey, back to Star Wars again. He's like, oh, they're going home.
yeah. Okay, somebody's got to be named Veru. Somebody's got to be named Owen. We got to put them in there.
But that's where you could have the remnants of these armies,
Yeah.
right? Sort of all gathering at Colwyn's because it's the only kingdom left,
Yeah.
right? And that's how you get them there.
Yeah. And now you've got your big battle scene.
Yay!
Yeah.
Shivers.
with all the logistical problems of having them sort of try and get to wherever the Black Fortress is going to be next because it's already going to be where they are. Colwyn and the crew just don't know that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they get informed of that.
They don't even know that the army's there.
Yeah.
They get there and all of a sudden they've got the thousands of people looking to him for
Yeah,
guidance.
they've got to wade through this army and bunch of people. He's got to just get there just to get to his castle.
Yeah.
Yeah, or they're all camped out in that field where the
and he has to
fortress is going
suddenly,
appear.
he's suddenly the leading of a handful of thieves is one thing, but becoming a true king
Is another
and
thing.
showing that leadership.
And then it completely improves that his character development as well because
yeah.
it shows that his growth and his capabilities to be a king. Right?
Damn, we're going to have to meet the marshal so he can die, so he can be replaced.
Oh no, his marshal would have died at the White Castle.
Okay.
Yeah.
He died at the White Castle.
He died at the White Castle.
That's going to be an ongoing joke.
It's totally going to be an ongoing joke.
Well, if you
Let this not be criticism on White Castle's food.
no, it's good. I think if you eat 50 burgers like Harold and Kumar did, you could die.
Yes.
But that's just because
Harold and Kumar died at the White
not
Castle.
because
These
they're White
two-
Castle burgers.
These
because
two skeletons at the White
You've
Castle.
eaten 50 burgers. You
And if
should
it's
be
sliders,
dead.
that's too many burgers.
Yes.
They're ground up screamers, people. They're
Mm-hmm.
ground up screamers.
Like they're just eating at the end. It's delicious. What is this? Oh, it's Screamer.
Okay, I think we got a fully formed film here. This
Yeah.
is pretty awesome and epic.
And we fleshed out, part of it, as I was saying before, I was confused by some of it. We fleshed out sort of the backstory, the mythology of it, which
yeah,
that I feel
was
what
very
makes
important.
it feel clunky.
Yeah, the lack of mythology is something that really slows it down. But they were aiming at a younger audience at that point, so they weren't thinking that far ahead.
No.
Yeah, and
But you don't make a franchise without mythology.
Yeah.
So.
No, exactly, and because I when I was thinking about how I'd remake this movie, I was sort of in my own musings. I'm like, would I remake it or would I make a sequel because the glaive gets lost?
Yeah.
Right. So that you'd want to set it up so maybe the glaive does get lost again. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because then you do have that opportunity for a sequel.
It was that weird thing when I was watching it. They had that voiceover at the beginning and at the end, and I didn't know who they were talking about because they're like, "There's a woman who chooses a man to be her king, and their son will rule the universe." Is that Lyssa and Colwyn?
Yes.
Or okay? See, yeah, I'm just like going, okay, then what about this? Why are you telling me this if the son isn't even going to be there?
Yeah.
And their son would become Kylo Ren.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, it just felt that a VO about a part of the movie that isn't a part of it, and you aren't going to see it all, just seemed weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were trying. I think they were trying to set it up as a franchise.
Oh, I'm sure they were. Yeah. They wanted to be the next Star Wars.
Yeah, and it had all of the right elements. Just not
wasn't quite enough there.
No.
Yeah, and I guess some of that slower British pacing kind of worked against it.
Mm-hmm. But damn, some of those places look beautiful.
But despite that, I kept my casting very British.
I went all over the place.
I mean, lately I gotta have to move away from the British casting because I've done it a lot lately. We've done quite a few British films.
I went international.
I find fantasy works best with British.
Yeah,
it does. The English accent just adds that layer of authenticity
Fantasy's
to the
posh.
fantasy.
It does. It totally does.
British, Scottish also looks real good. Mm-hmm. Irish,
because they have much grander medieval pasts.
Yeah.
So
true.
It feels legit.
And somehow there's something about a Scottish person yelling, attack! Like, it's just better.
Oh, yeah, my casting
I don't know why.
It's kind of mixed all over the place.
Yeah, I think I have an Australian in here and stuff. So.
I have an Australian, a Swede,
I might actually have a Swede in here, too, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Cohen was the hardest one to cast for me, to be honest, because
that was hard.
Need a leading man, someone in his 20s.
Because that was it. Like we were talking before, how it seems the lead of this movie has the least amount of charisma.
Yeah, and I actually cast mine kind of that direction. Surprisingly enough, no, as an actor that is talented, hasn't gotten a lot of opportunities, but
yeah, yeah. No, I struggled, and it might feel a little on the nose, to be honest. But
yeah, I showed you my scratching out and going around. So
I never start, so I'm going to start today.
Yeah.
Yay!
So for my fantasy casting, for my director, I went with Neil Marshall.
Nice.
He's been directing a lot of TV lately. People might remember him from Dog Soldiers and The Descent.
Nice.
But he's directed some Game of Thrones stuff as of late, and some of the bigger episodes.
Oh, so, cool.
Yeah. And I was going through literally an entire list of about 200 people of young 20 to 30 British actors.
It's hard.
And then I settled on, go figure, Jon Snow himself, Kit Harington.
Nice.
See, and I almost went with the guy who played Rob
Stark?
Rob Stark.
Right.
Ooh.
Almost.
I was looking at him as well.
direction.
He was also on the short list.
Yeah, I had a tough time with that one.
It was a tough time, and I'm still not 100% sold on that, mainly because he's in, how many fantasy pieces does this guy want to get tied to?
Well, and that's why I moved away from the actor who plays Rob Stark. Yeah.
So I'm kind of on board with it, but at the same time, maybe we should give somebody else a shot.
Oh, yeah.
For my Lissa, I went with Rebecca Ferguson. She was in Mission Impossible 5 and Girl on a Train. Really dig her. And since we've made that character a little more proactive and a badass herself, so nice. I think she'd fit that role quite nicely. So,
for sure.
Yeah.
She's great in Mission Impossible.
Boy, I had to flip around because I'm like, I thought Idris Elba was a lot older than he is, because he has this weariness to him. In his acting style, because I was originally going to make him my Ynir, and I'm like, he's not old enough.
Nope.
So I switched him to my Torquil.
Nice.
Guess what?
Really?
Yeah.
Right on.
It's us this time.
Yay! Well, because, I want a little bit of multicultural cast. Idris Elba is pretty hot right now. He's in the Dark Tower soon.
Yeah.
So...
And you can imagine him talking about, these men only follow me, and I don't follow anybody.
It'd be, it'd be a different type of performance, but at the same time, you're going to have some mad respect for that guy.
But the thing is, that's the thing. Torquil is roguish and charming, but a badass.
Yeah. For my Widow of the Web, I went with Eva Green.
Oh, nice.
Because she's got a huskiness to her voice. And when she goes young in that scene, I want somebody who's kind of pretty, but still looks a bit mean.
Yeah.
Well, she looks like an enchantress.
Yeah.
She's very much that fantasy enchantress.
Yeah, she really has a fantasy aspect to her, and I'm surprised we haven't seen her in a truly fantasy movie. I guess the sequel to 300, she was. Yeah. She was quite good in that. just because I want him in this movie, he was one of the soldiers. I kind of replaced Liam Neeson with Joshua Sass, who was Gallivant
Nice.
in the show of the same name. I just wanted him in here. He was somebody who's the handsome and roguish and
that's
a little
who
bit
Keegan is.
and Liam Neeson was that character.
Yeah, it'd be a good. I would go with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't find a suitable replacement for Robbie Coltrane as Rune, but
I think I did.
I had some thoughts about it, but I just kind of like, I'm going to leave that one. For my Ynir, another Game of Thrones alumni, the people who watch the show will know him as Davos, Liam Cunningham.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah, I think he's definitely got the right look. He's got a good voice.
Yeah. He's one of the best parts of Game of Thrones, I tell you.
Yeah. Speaking of another guy with a great voice, we needed a senior
Yes.
for the seer. And I love this guy's voice, Charles Dance.
Oh, nice choice. Yeah. Also from Game of Thrones. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah, he's got a great voice.
Now, Ergo. This was interesting.
That was hard.
Oh, Ergo was so easy for me.
Mine happened by accident, actually, when I was looking at that list. And I'm like, I would have never thought of that in a million years, but it's so perfect. Sacha Baron Cohen.
Nice. Oh, I love yours.
I can totally see it. I actually did cast my Cyclops. Big ass dude. He's been in The Hobbit. He's probably was a bunch of orcs or something, and Game of Thrones. His name is Conan Stevens.
Okay.
Oh,
He's a big 7 foot.
His name is actually Conan?
His name is actually Conan. Well, maybe that's his
Conan O'Brien's
stage
like
name.
6'5".
So,
you have to
this
be
guy
tall to be
towers
Conan?
over Conan.
Yeah.
So, huge dude. And if you're doing the mocap, you can make me even bigger. But I thought, even if you do go entirely CG with the character, you want somebody who moves like a big guy.
Yeah.
So have a big guy do it.
Oh, exactly.
Right? And, he's a little bit older, but so is the character.
Yeah.
So I thought, he's perfect. I don't know what his acting style is, to be honest, because, yes, people, I still haven't watched an episode of Game of Thrones. I'll get there. Don't write me.
It's okay. It's okay.
Don't bitch at me on Twitter.
It's there waiting for you. If you wait until the last season, you can watch all of it.
Yeah. I will. I think I will. I think
you
I'm
go.
just going to shotgun it all. For the Beast, I wanted somebody with a big presence, and hopefully he lives to get to do this because he's a fairly old gentleman at this point. Brian Blessed.
Nice. I didn't cast the Beast. I also didn't cast.
It was an afterthought. I was late last night. I'm like, I need a Beast.
I was trying my hardest. I cast the Beast, but I don't. Yeah, I don't like Brian Blessed.
I don't want the Beast being as well spoken as he is, but
No, but I want that intonation.
yeah. So I want a power to his voice, but a gravel, and I want it almost being difficult to form words.
Because he's somewhat weakened in this realm.
Yeah. And just because you need some cameos from the old one, Liam Neeson is King Turld, and Robbie Coltrane is King Erig. Sorry, Ken Marshall, I didn't find a place for you.
Well, I you know what? I will go with that because I didn't do the two kings.
I didn't do.
But if we're going to have a third kingdom, maybe you're the Grand Marshal.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. There we go. We added a third. We added going back to his kingdom, so you could be the guy who's running the show while the king's off getting his son married.
Whatever,
Yeah. So there you go. Ken Marshall can be in that scene.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm going to defer to you on the Widow of the Web.
Okay.
Because I completely miscasting her somehow.
Well, with this, as many characters are in there, I was like, okay, who are the keys? What are the key moments of this film?
Yeah, and that's why I'm surprised I missed her.
Well, I had to go through Wikipedia to get all the characters.
Yeah, I actually took about and I had my IMDb open. I'm like, okay, I've got this one. Oh shit, I missed that. And so it took about 3 passes before I got all of the really key roles in there.
Yeah.
And I almost did Titch, but as we know, it's really hard casting children, so I just skipped it.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that
hard.
we've given him a larger role in our remake, there's something that we probably should have done. But
yeah, well, I mean, I was looking. There was a kid that I saw as an up-and-comer. He's about 13, but he looks like he's like 8. So I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And he was like the only one. I'm like, well, Asa Butterfield would have been good a few years ago, but kids turn into adults awfully quickly.
That's the hard
always
part.
the challenge, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you have casting directors for.
Yeah, so, we leave that one up to the casting director and whoever's going to play Spider-Man next.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the new Spider-Man. He's good.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll wait and see. He was good in Civil War. We'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see.
When is that one coming out again?
A little later this
year?
summer. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good year for superhero movies.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean,
so far, so good.
In terms of releases, anyhow.
Yeah. I mean, so far, they've been doing quite well. Guardians of the Galaxy and Wonder Woman have both hit their marks. So
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, they're getting better at it.
Yeah. Okay, who wants to go next?
Do you want me to go? And
my list is shorter.
Okay, I don't know either.
Well,
or
then,
like,
no. Let's go with Trish,
me.
and then Sam can be the anchor.
Sam, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't think you almost never go last. Or do you?
I don't think I ever go last. I'm usually first or second.
I'm mixing it up. I'm making it all.
That's what I'm thinking.
Making it all crazy today.
All right. So as we know, we both ended up with the same Torquil.
Yes.
So we'll do that one.
Nice.
Okay. So my Cohen, I went with Luke Pasqualino, who you might know.
Also on my list.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, he was also on my list.
Because I was looking for the right kind of age. I always struggle with the age, and I know he's done like sword stuff, so I'm like,
okay,
I think I could get it.
Nice.
Yeah.
For Lissa, Alexa Davies. She was in a TV show called Raised by Wolves, which she's fun, and I think she's put her in her red hair. She's like a strong badass.
Nice.
Ynir, I went with.
I guess she should be a redhead since with the fire and stuff.
Yeah.
We have to keep her redhead, don't we?
Exactly, I think so.
Oh well, you're biased though. You're ginger.
It's true. yeah, sure, a little bias. It's fine.
I stood redhead too, just for record.
For my Ynir, I didn't.
But we can dye her.
You can dye hair.
Yeah. Dye hair. It's fine.
Because like Alexa Davies, I don't think she's not naturally a redhead. So
okay, fair.
So
Ynir,
I went with somebody I've been really loving on TV, Ian Mcshane.
I tried to fit him in here. I couldn't quite figure it out, and I'm like, for some reason I passed over that, but I totally would have done Ian Mcshane in a heartbeat.
I know,
but I was pretty happy with my choice as well.
Sure.
But great choice. I sing that man's praises. Yeah, me too.
I mean,
what was that where he was the art thief or whatever?
Oh my gosh!
Way back when. I love that show.
Oh, I can't
remember it either.
It's like one name.
Yeah.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, our British friends
really
can write us and tell me what that was because I don't have my IMDb open right now. But it was great. Lovejoy.
Yeah.
Lovejoy.
That's it.
Just popped into my brain.
Oh,
great.
Yeah.
It was a great show. Great show. Go check it out.
So good. And American Gods. He's amazing in it.
Amazing.
I've yet to see an episode yet. But.
So good. And then for Ergo the Magnificent, I was struggling so hard with this until I had a weird dream last night that put me onto this guy. It's not a sex dream, just so you know.
Oh, good, because he's short in stature, large in purpose.
Yeah. No, that's not it. I just had a weird dream where I was actually cast on Friends in the 90s. It was something that happened. Anyway,
okay.
I went with Paul Rudd because I like him. I think he's funny.
Right. I could see him being an Ergo.
Yeah, an Ergo. And then I kind of hopping around here. For Widow of the Web, she still looks great for her age, so you could age her up, and then I think she would be old enough so that when Ynir comes to see her, they kind of make sense because the time has stopped for both of them, but they're a little older. Mm-hmm. I put Teresa Russell.
Okay.
Because I feel she's just, I could see her being
nice.
Very sad and upset, and she's got the range.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, for my Keegan, I put Eric Bana.
Okay, cool.
I did something a little different.
Yeah.
For Rune, Kevin Durand.
Oh, nice.
He's tall and he can be kind of... Yeah, I could see him being the very big pessimistic one of the group, which he is.
Right.
The whole time. And then I added Oswin, who's the first one to join. I switched it up basically because of the one line he says. I put Michelle Yeoh in that cast because he says, I have no sons. I just want to hear her say that.
Nice. I actually thought about putting, I would... Within that band of merry men, I'd have a couple of badass females, or at least one.
Oh, and I was another one.
I wasn't sure where to put her, but so I just didn't do the casting on it. But I totally want that. Yeah,
and I love Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah, me too.
She's cool. And speaking of Game of Thrones, I put her as Mano because I had a whole idea and I didn't really get to the end of it. Where it's Mano and Dano, I was going to put a male and a female. And they're like mom and dad of the group. So I had a Mano, Gwendolyn Christie. She's already a sword fighter. She's Game of Thrones. She's a tall badass. And then Rel, you won't like my casting, but I just thought it was funny. I went with Dolph Lundgren because I'm like, I just get.
Hey, trust me. It came across my brain. I'm like, I really gave that some serious consideration, to be honest, because he's an older character in here. He's hitting his dying moments with his personal characters. So I'm like,
and he's a bigger dude.
He's a bigger dude. And I'm like, I don't I'm not going to argue against it because I almost did it myself. So
nice.
I do like your choice because it almost happened.
Awesome.
And he's got a great voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And actually, his little bit of accent would actually be really interesting for the Cyclops.
sure.
actually.
That's what I was
Sure.
thinking.
I buy that.
Yeah.
And for my seer, I went a different way.
The only reason I didn't go with him is because I found somebody taller.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, that's the one thing. When you went with the tallness, I'm like, yeah, that guy sounds amazing. And it was like,
And
then
he's built like a brick shit house. So.
oh, for sure. Well, didn't he play? He played the mountain, did he not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why.
Yeah.
And then for the seer, I put Jane Horrocks on there because I like her, and I'm like, well, she's just a woman seer. And then Titch, like you say, I have a little kid, but I can't cast a young boy because it's just weird to try and look for a young male actor.
Yeah. Yes.
I
Fucks
don't.
up your browser history.
Yeah, I don't want the police calling me
Or showing up on your
or showing up on my doorstep when I'm just doing this for a podcast.
and taking all your computers and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not what I wanted to do. And then for your two kings, I defer to you because I love that. That's
Okay.
great. And for my beast, I went with Clive Owen.
Okay.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Something different.
I almost had doubled up with Idris Elba and have him be the voice of the Beast as well.
Ooh.
We've seen Cumberbatch do that
Yeah.
in Doctor Strange.
See, Cumberbatch is another good one.
Yeah.
That's where he was playing his own villain.
Man.
But, I was thinking of these guys and I'm like, Idris Elba would be great as the voice of the Beast.
Oh,
But,
totally. Well, in the Jungle Book, he is so good.
But Blessed just popped in my head and I'm like, oh, I miss
That
him.
is brilliant.
I
I
miss
love
him.
that. And you know what? When he's toying with Lissa,
Yeah.
Brian Blessed he
Yeah.
could do that deep, taunting.
Yeah, another one I almost cast because it was almost an embarrassment of riches for the voices of that. I almost did Tim Curry as well. I mean, he
Yeah.
can't do physical roles
still do
anymore,
voice,
but
yeah.
he could still do voice.
He did come across me, but I wasn't sure what his status was right now. I didn't know if he was still doing stuff.
Yeah, well, he made a short appearance in the
Rocky Horror.
Live
Yeah.
thing that CBS did,
Yep.
which I heard was pretty good. So
Okay, cool. Yeah, he did come across me, but I was worried about him, so I didn't know what I should do.
yeah, I'm not sure either, and that's why I just kind of bypassed it because thinking of what his health is at right now, I felt a little sad. But then, Brian Blessed isn't a young spring chicken either. So
Yeah.
No, I mean, but voice work is fortunately not all as straining as
Yeah.
physical acting, right? So
yeah,
True.
and yeah, I mean Brian's still active in voice work as well. Actually, still acting. Period.
Well, it's like when we went to that panel. What was his name? Where he was not as high energy as all of his voiceover work.
Oh, the guy from Toy Story
And Princess Bride.
and Princess Bride. I'm blanking on his name right now,
Yeah,
but
me
yeah.
too.
Yeah, he's all of his characters always have this high energy, and he's like a tortoise in real life.
Which isn't bad, but it's very jarring when you're
It is.
expecting the dinosaur from Toy
It
Story.
was, yeah. He's very slow and methodical about everything he says. You almost want to finish his sentences for him.
I know. And then I did do a director on this one. I did Patty Jenkins.
Very
I've
nice.
seen Wonder Woman, and she
Well,
did good.
yeah, she's definitely on the rise.
Oh,
yes.
for sure.
Yeah, and
This-
rightfully so.
We
Yeah,
can get her.
rightfully so.
We can get her in here before she gets too big and won't do this.
Well, they spent a lot of budget on this last time and had basically young, no-name actors. I mean, a couple of them went on to get some names, but these guys were all young and just starting out at the time. So,
Yeah.
For sure.
you think about it, a no-name cast like that would never get that kind of budget now.
No.
Oh, no.
Never in a million years. Sammy.
Okay. So my list is much shorter than your guys', but we already knew that. But I'll go with the characters I did cast. So for Cohen, I'm with Alex Pettyfer.
Oh, he came across me too.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not familiar.
He was the lead in I Am Number 4.
Oh, he was on my list. He was on the list that I was looking at, and I really liked his look,
Yeah.
and that almost happened. Actually, he was probably my number 3.
He's an almost dead ringer for him.
He is.
Yeah.
That's
honestly why I moved away from it.
Yeah, but I really liked it. I didn't really like I'm Number 4 as a movie, but
Yeah,
he's
it's
done
not
other
great.
stuff where I've seen that the potential he has as an actor, and I thought this would be a good vehicle for somebody like him.
Yep, he
Yeah.
totally came across my list as well, and I'm like, I really like the look of him.
Yeah. For my Lissa, I cast Deborah Ann Wall.
Nice.
Nice.
Again, because the look, and now we've made her a really strong character.
Oh yeah.
For our viewers who might not know who she is,
She is
Listeners.
Daredevil. She is in. I can't remember what the character's name is all of a sudden.
Was that Elektra?
No, she's the.
Oh, I know the redhead.
Yeah.
Yes.
She was also in True Blood.
Sharon.
Yeah.
Sharon in True Blood. And for those of us who listen to this podcast, she was in the Mother's Day movie that was remade.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
She was the daughter.
She was.
Yes, she was. Yeah. For my in-ear, I went with Liam Neeson.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Yeah, because he's aged up.
He's aged up, and especially now that we've made him sort of the fallen hero, you can see him as the old tired hero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, he might be a little bit younger than originally written, but
That's why I had him in a smaller role, because I didn't see him wanting to stick around very long.
This is why he's a hermit now. He's like, every time I go somewhere, my family gets taken.
Yeah.
I've just had enough.
For my Ergo, I went with Jay Baruchel.
Oh, yeah.
Because he plays that physical, neurotic.
He was in Sorcerer's Apprentice, too.
Yeah,
He was.
that's why I'm not so keen on it, because that movie was terrible.
But he's great in Tropic Thunder.
You know what?
Even though the movie's
I don't get why people like it.
I have to agree
He
with
was
you on
funny
that
in
one. But you know what? I get past the movie and look at the performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I loved him in that End of the World movie. This is the end. This is the end.
Oh, yeah.
I loved him.
That
in
was just basically him. Yeah.
Which is fine.
It was a
I
parody
liked
of
him,
himself, yeah.
and I like him in How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I
I
like
said
him
that.
in just about everything he does. Like some of the independent Canadian stuff that he does is so much fun. If you haven't seen Goon, you should.
Nope, haven't.
Yeah, and then there's that one about looking for a girlfriend, or no, Single and Looking. It's a TV series that he's in now.
which is also very funny. But he's very good at neurotic, which Ergo was. For my Torquil, I'm with Noah Taylor.
Ooh,
Because
like that.
I think that he'd play that guy who easily makes that transition from slightly criminal to a good guy. For my Rel, I cast Brian Thompson. One of the first guys killed by the Terminator. The big, tall.
Oh,
guy with
I know
the
exactly
really
who you're
deep,
talking about.
resonant voice.
Yeah. He's got that crazy jawline.
The crazy jawline. I thought he'd be great as a Cyclops.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he's fairly large in stature, and he's
Yeah,
aging.
he's older now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought he'd be really great as a Cyclops, especially with that voice.
That's a
Sure.
deep cut.
That's
I
a
like
good.
it.
That's a good one.
And then for my director, like I said, I missed a few for casting, but that's okay. You guys got it covered. I was Stephen Sommers because the first two Mummy movies are very representative of kind of what we want to do with this sort of that's.
As much as I like the Mummy movies, they're so silly.
They are.
I agreed, but in terms of capturing the action and this type of story, the sort of the epic adventure, they're really good.
Yeah, and anybody who wants to hear our opinions on the Mummy, we also covered that in our back catalog as well. So go hunting.
But yeah, like I said, I was looking at it and like, yeah, he can do that sort of traveling action, right?
Right.
We have some dark stuff. Like, I mean, he can inject some of that humor,
For sure.
some of those in there.
Without being too cartoony.
Okay, now we get to that part of the show where everybody hits their 15-second buttons.
Yeah.
But we need you guys to hear it. We need you guys to help support the show if you want more awesome episodes like Krull, which you could tell we had a lot of fun with.
Oh, yeah.
Please leave us a 5-star rating and a review on iTunes. That certainly helps us out, and it helps other people be more informed about the show, and hopefully they'll subscribe as well and do the same thing. So we would totally like you guys to go in there, leave some reviews and a 5-star rating, and that would be awesome. Another way you can help the show out is tell your friends where to find us. You obviously know, but help your friends out. Not everybody has an iPhone or Android or whatever, but we're on all your devices. Believe it or not, we are in a bazillion podcast providers.
But let's be clear, we've not hacked into your device. We're on many areas you can find with your devices.
Yes.
Just want to be clear.
How you get people subscribed is your own business, but just make sure it happens.
Yeah.
So
We didn't do that.
So tell your friends how awesome the show is, and then tell them you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Player FM, Google Play Music, Audio Boom, freaking YouTube.
Yep.
Freaking YouTube.
Blueberry. We're in a lot of places. So just go to your favorite podcast provider, search out Invasion of the Remake.
Exactly.
And hit that subscribe button. You'll get our goodness, our lovely, sultry voices every single Tuesday.
Or even just Google us. We show up in like the first search.
Sure. You can even listen.
And then you can find out where we are.
And you can listen to our episodes straight from
Libsyn.
Twitter and Libsyn, and of course Facebook as well. They get posted there as well. So you can listen to all those places if you don't want to go on the go or whatever. Just log in and like our Facebook page, like our Twitter page. For Twitter, it's at Invasion Remake. Of course, just search out Invasion of the Remake on Facebook. That's us. And of course, you can email your comments, corrections, suggestions. We take fan challenges as well. Or if you just want to chat a little bit more about a podcast we've already done, send all that stuff there. It's invasionoftheremake@gmail.com. Nice. Yeah.
And we could use your help. Sometimes we blank on a name or we can't remember a thing.
Yeah.
We need your help.
Put it in the comments. It's hard to retain all that information sometimes.
Yes. There's a lot.
It's a lot of information, a lot of movies. Sometimes people will ask me about a movie that we did a couple months ago, and I'll be like, oh. Well, you guys watched it, right? Yep. Yeah. I've done like 15 movies since then. I've had to make room.
Yeah, our brain hard drives don't have as much capacity as you would think.
No. So, they don't stick in there for very long. Then I'm on to the next one.
We have to make room to make more content for you.
That's right. That's right. And we're quickly closing in on 100. I can't believe it.
I know.
So we've got a little ways. I think that's going to drop in August.
Wow.
So if people have suggestions for that 100th episode, we'll be open to it. I know everybody's waiting for the thing, but I'm holding it hostage for we need that audience to grow, and I'm going to save that for a very special outing. So could be a while yet. Could be a while.
Yeah.
The thing is going to happen, but you got to be patient. You got to earn it.
Exactly.
You got to really want it. I don't feel the want yet.
Like some of the characters we've talked about, we're withholding our love.
That's the one I am holding out, because that it almost feels like a final episode to me. It does, because it doesn't get that much better.
It does seem a shame to just fire it off, blow our wad all at once, as it were.
So wait, are we waiting till one of us dies?
No. Oh, no. Hopefully I'll be long bored of doing this by then.
Or is it just maybe like, okay, when we do the thing, we'll know one of us is not going to be alive at the end of the episode?
It's like Cyclops. We've now foretold our own future.
We can't do the thing.
Okay, maybe we'll just save it for a really big, nice round number.
Yep.
Episode 200, 500. I don't know yet. I don't know. But if you want the thing to happen, you got to help us out by getting some more listeners in here.
Yeah. We want to reward all you loyal listeners.
That's right.
But we don't want to.
We don't want to blow the wad and just keep it just for you. We want that for everybody, because that's the big one. That's the big one.
Exactly.
And we'll save that for a big anniversary episode. I don't know. Sure. Technically, 99 is our 100th episode, but
yeah.
But if you count 0, if you don't, then it's the 100th.
0 is just a prequel, I think.
Yeah, it is a prequel.
It's not an actual episode.
Yeah, and then like 2 episodes after that's like our anniversary.
Yeah,
2-year anniversary. So I don't know. We're gonna wrap up. We're gonna give you a lot of movies for the next little bit, and we're going to use that to celebrate within that block of time, from, I don't know, 99 to 102 or something. We're just going to celebrate. We're not going to give you a clip show or whatever.
No.
But I might have...
We don't do that.
No. Well, we tried that once. It didn't work.
Yeah.
We kind of something like that anyway. I'm not going to do that again. But... I might have some interesting factoids. I'm going to have to go through all my paperwork and collate some interesting facts.
Nice.
And see what we can find.
An all-star listing.
Our all-stars. I'm actually curious about how much time we've committed to these movies. So I'm going to have to research all the running times for all these movies.
Some of them were long.
Some of them were long. Some of the episodes are really long. I'm actually curious about how much time we've put into the podcast itself. That doesn't include my editing time.
I know. Yeah, add your editing in and we'll find out.
Oh, I don't log that, so I have no idea. Some episodes edit faster than others.
A guesstimate. Just guesstimate.
Well, I think that's it. This was awesome. I love Krull. Yeah. And I think I love it more now with the way we've rethought it.
Oh, I'm excited about Krull.
Without changing it too much. That's the best part.
We've kept the core of it really intact. Yeah. And all the changes just are a little more thrilling. I mean, those when you get to those sequences, you can change them up, but I think the core of that movie still works really well. So, but we've given it mythology and legs to move on past its initial film. So
we've given it more structure, more solidity,
more motivation for the characters.
Yeah. And hey, if you guys got your own casting out there, I'm always willing to hear it. You can leave your fantasy casting for Krull in our comment section on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube. So wherever you listen to it, or even on our Libsyn page. So wherever you find it, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what your casting would be. And that goes for any episode, really.
Oh, yeah.
So what would you do? Let us know.
Exactly. There may have been somebody we hadn't thought of, and we're like, oh my God, that's amazing.
Exactly. Well, with that, I've been Jason.
I'm always Sam.
I have been as remaining until now, Trish.
All right. Well, we're taking the mothership, and we're going to leave Krull now. And we are out of here.
Might have been quicksand. I might have been sucked to my death while you stood there gawping. Oh. Where is this place?
A forest near the Granite Mountains.
Blast! 1,000 miles off course. Well, I was rushed. There was a difference of opinion concerning a gooseberry pie. The man left it sitting on his windowsill. What did he expect?
Perhaps expected to eat it.
For that rude snout, I think I'll turn you into a bat. Might teach you some manners to hang upside down for an hour or two.
The Hill people lack the power to do harm.
We shall see about that, old man. We'll see about that. No. That's a recipe for hot fudge sauce. Oh, well, it'll have to be a goose. Fat and ugly.
Very fat, very ugly.